All right. Well, welcome to our latest virtual open mic. And we have two wonderful women here with us today, Teresa and Lisa, which kind of rhymes, which I like. We're going to be starting a girl group later. And so I'm very excited to have them. And they're going to share some funny stories and talk a little bit. And yeah, and we'll go from there. But thank you for tuning in. My name is Olivia. I'm the founder of Humor Beats Cancer, and we're a nonprofit that works to kind of spread joy and humor throughout the cancer community and to use humor as kind of a coping tool. So we're glad that you're listening, and we hope that we can be of help to you all in some way. So I think we're going to have Lisa is going to kick us off. So let me put my tech stuff to use, and we'll get you started, Lisa. All right. So let's see.
I don't hear you anymore. We ready? Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Olivia. I just have to say, when you reached out in the first place about the blog, it gave me an opportunity to look back, which I hadn't really been doing lately because it's still kind of stings sometimes, but it's just, I don't know, it's just a wonderful opportunity, and I appreciate the opportunity and the community that you offer all of us. My name is Lisa. I live in Beltsville, Maryland. Woo woo. Big Terps fan. I was 46 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was stage 2A. HER positive, and I did what I now call my, breast cancer world tour. I did everything. I did surgery, 6 months of chemo, and 7 weeks of radiation treatments. So it really, collectively, it took up a year and a half before I finished all of my treatments, and we had several ups and downs and bumps after that. But thank God right now, I'm in remission now, and we're just kind of rolling along. I take each day as it comes. So when Olivia asked me, there were so many different things that jumped in my mind, but this one story in particular stuck with me, that I've gone back to in my mind since it happened, because it was early on in my journey. So if you are ready, here we go. I was 46 years young when I began what I now call my breast cancer world tour to 2017. Surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. I had surgery for the 2A HER plus high grade tumor in my left breast on January 30th, 2017. My first round of chemo began in March. Spring being my favorite time of year, I couldn't fathom spending the entire season in summer during chemotherapy. So I decided I would try to bring some of the beautiful Maryland sunshine and weather into the infusion unit for each treatment. Most days I brought donuts with a big bright smile for the staff, other patients, and their support members. When I looked at the calendar and realized I would have to do chemo on the Thursday before Easter, I decided to be the Easter Bunny. Knowing on Easter Sunday, I would most likely be the bone-aching, nauseous, F-bombs exploding in my head kind of sick I'd grown accustomed to for the first few days after chemo. I worked feverishly the night before chemo preparing Easter bags full of candy and other little trinkets I thought would make us all feel a little better about being sick for the first major holiday of spring. My family rotated shifts to be my chauffeur and source of sanity and support during the chemo months. On this particular Thursday, it was my youngest daughter's shift. I convinced her to wear bunny ears with me. It was a hard sell, but she did it, and coached her on how to hand out the bags to everyone with a warm greeting and a smile. My daughter handled distributing the bags to everyone in the waiting area and the staff. I, with great joy, handled distributing the bags to my fellow warriors seated in the big chairs. The bags and the bunny ears were a big hit, or so I thought, until I approached a familiar gentleman I saw every other Thursday, and with a big bright smile, pink and white bunny ears poised, pink and white bunny ears poised perfectly on my head, and said, "Happy Easter." He replied, "If you're supposed to be the Easter bunny, where are the carrots? Rabbits eat carrots. You should have brought carrots, not candy. They're healthier. No thanks, I'll pass." With a blank stare, I said, um, since they are pumping us with poison every other week, I'm sure a little sugar high for one day won't kill us. I also included ginger candy chews in the bags. They helped me with nausea. Still, he refused to take a bag. Before I knew it, my mouth started moving without my permission, and these words loudly flew out. "Listen, sir, I stayed up all night making these bags. I convinced my daughter to wear bunny ears with me. I did not make them for rabbits. I made them for you. I don't care what you do with it, but you're taking one of these bags. In fact, since you're being so stubborn about it, take two." We both looked at each other and just started laughing hysterically. He said, "Well, since you put it that way, I'll take as many as you want me to have." I rang the bell and finished my course of treatments before my friend, whom I nicknamed Mr. Carrot. But on the Thursday before Easter, I've continued to return to the infusion unit with my bunny ears and candy bags. Never again did Mr. Carrot refuse to take a bag. In fact, his smile was the brightest when he saw me, my ears, and candy bags coming through the door.
Oh, that is so good. Oh my gosh. That is the best. I love the exchange. I like everything about that. Like I think it is the best.
Olivia, that day you could have heard like a pin drop because all of a sudden, and I'm standing there. He's, just trying to. And I'm just like, "Did you really say you're not going to take one?" I just in that moment, I could not fathom that he was not impressed and did not want to take one of the candy bags.
I love when you're like, and I've stayed up all last night and like just take the candy.
Take the candy.
Yes, I would have done the same thing, but I can't believe that you go back there every year too, though. That is so sweet and kind. Oh, yes.
We do it at Easter and Christmas.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But I grab my family, we get together, we put reindeer ears, whatever we can, festive, and we take stockings or just something.
Yeah.
Those are just the two holidays, especially Christmas, that I know I just feel like kind of hit home the most. Mm-hmm. Like those are the times that you're with your family or you're cooking, whatever your normal traditions are. And cancer just kind of waylays you from just what you have no choice but to adapt to a new normal for a time. So in the process, it's just something small that we did, we still do.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
All right, Teresa, you're up. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready. So first of all, let me apologize for saying we're in the car, and that's my son back there that you see on his feet. We had on errand we needed to run, and I didn't want to miss this call. So yeah, my name is Teresa. I am from Chicago, and I came across Humor Beats Cancer through Instagram. And similar to your story, Lisa, Olivia reached out, and I kind of almost felt like a little celebrity status. And I'm like, oh my God, somebody wants me to write something in regards to my journey. And I was talking to my husband, and it's like, okay, well, what has been funny about this whole monster and beast that we've all tackled, right? So I was a candidate. Okay, so I got diagnosed September of 2019. So this month will be my 1 year anniversary. And I think the man upstairs for getting me this far. It was found in a routine exam. It was my second mammogram. I was 41 years old. At 40, I went in and everything was fine. So 41, didn't think much of it. Never felt it. Never felt the tumor. Once everything was said and done, I was considered, but the same as yours, Lisa, stage 2A. The MRI showed that there was no spread. And when I met with my breast surgeon and plastic surgeon, I was told I was a good candidate to do immediate implant if nothing changed once surgery ended. In the process, I went through genetic testing and uncovered that we carry the BRCA2 gene, which was a complete surprise because there was no history of breast or ovarian cancer in my family. And I am the youngest of 4. So I was the lucky one who had to get this to get my family to start doing all the precautions that they needed to do. So for me, my friends were asking me, well, why you? And it's like, well, why not me? Nobody asked for this. I had a great team. They decided to go ahead and do a double mastectomy with immediate reconstruction. So the funny part about this whole thing was nobody tells you really what happens when you do reconstruction. They tell you might need more than one, you might need a couple, but they don't really tell you in your situation what can happen because your body is your body and you don't know how your body is going to react to foreign objects. So one day my husband and I went to my sister-in-law's house, and I went through 4 months of chemo. I finished the week that all hell broke loose with COVID in Chicago. The week that the schools were closing, I was in the chair in the hospital getting my 7th out of 8 infusions. And so everybody in the chemo room was like, what's going to happen? Are we going to be okay? The hospital that I was at was one of the hospitals that was considered a trauma hospital for COVID patients. So we were a little freaked out. Needless to say, my oncologist thought that it was better for me just to do 7 out of the 8 treatments. So March 18th was my last chemo treatment. I didn't need radiation because I was doing double mastectomy. And so around, I want to say June, we went over to visit my sister-in-law. We hadn't seen her for weeks, for months, because we were all in quarantine and social distancing. And that was when the Chicago heat wave hit us with 90 and 100-degree temperature. And we're like, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to travel. We're not going to be able to go anywhere. So let's go look for a pool. We did not know how crazy the pool became the next toilet paper and paper towel fiasco in Chicago. So we went to my sister-in-law's house, and everybody would always be a little reluctant to ask me questions about everything because everybody has a different story, and everybody deals with the emotions of treatment different. And so that day we started talking about my mastectomy, and my sister-in-law's like, well, are you done, or what's going on? And I'm like, well, it's funny that you asked that. I'm like, no, I'm not. And she's like, what do they feel like? That was her first question. What do your implants feel feel like? What do your new boobs feel like? And I jokingly said, do you want to touch them? And so she looked at me like, I'm like, go ahead, touch them. She actually reached over and grabbed them. And her first reaction was like, oh my gosh, they feel like gummy bears, which was really surprising. But at the same time, now that I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, you can kind of, I went back and I started feeling them myself. And I'm like, yeah, I think gummy bears is a really good description for them. And in the process, we continued to talk, and I told her, I'm like, well, you know what? I go, one settled in bigger and lower than the other. And you see it in her face. She's trying not to look, but it's like, how can you not, after hearing this stuff? So she kept on trying to make eye contact with me, but then her eyes would like look at my chest. And so I finally said, I'm like, so can you tell? And she was still very reluctant in looking. And I'm like, can you tell? And she's like, yeah, is it that one? And she pointed it out. And she didn't know how to react. She didn't know if she was going to offend me, if she was going to get me upset or what. So I just started laughing. I'm like, yep, it's that one. And she's like, oh my gosh. She goes, you can't really tell unless you look at it up close and up close. And I'm looking at her like, it took you 3 seconds to figure out, which one it was. So don't tell me you really can't tell, unless you're really staring at them. But that kind of became like the joke, that Teresa had gummy bear boobs and lopsided boobs to top it off, So now it's like I just look at them and it's just like, yeah, that was still lopsided. Yeah, they still feel like gummy bears, But I think about it now and it's like, well, how many people can actually come up with with some funny humor, while going through this stuff. So when I wrote my blog, and you posted it, Olivia, I Instagram page and my Facebook page, and I told people, I captioned it, this might be a little more than you want to know about me, but oh well, here it goes. And I had people who were messaging me. They're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And well, it's a good thing that you're laughing about this because other people would probably not. I'm like, I'm going to get liposuction. So that's another plus on it because they're going to have to go back in there and do a revision.
Oh, Teresa, we might be losing you a little bit.
That's going to be the
last
of it. But as of now, it's like one slow. So did we freeze?
Oh, we can hear you now. I don't know, Teresa, you might be frozen. I'll bring us all together. Hold on. Oh, we might have lost Teresa. Are you there still, Lisa?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Well, hopefully Teresa can hear us because that was extremely funny. Now I'm always going to think of my boobs as gummy bears now, so that was pretty great. Well, until we get her back, let's just chat a little bit, Lisa. Do we see? Are you back, Teresa?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, we loved your stories. We were saying that.
Yes.
So how do you guys keep your humor during, when dealing with cancer? I mean, you both kind of talk about how, just kind of that importance of having it and, laughing and kind of how it brings people, together, whether it's the guy, Mr. Carrot, or your sister-in-law, Teresa. And so, I mean, how did you guys find your humor during all of this, tough stuff that you're dealing with cancer?
Well, for me, I love to laugh. Anyway, it's a part of my personality,
Mm-hmm.
and cancer has been honestly the hardest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I say that from saying that 2 months after my 40th birthday, I had a major stroke.
Oh my gosh.
So Yeah, so it took me 5 years of physical, occupational, speech and language therapies just to be able to read, write, comprehend words, and be able
Jeez.
to walk unassisted. As soon as I got used to that new normal,
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh my
So it was
God.
2 back-to-back, just major life-changing things. And I can remember thinking, well, if I don't figure out a way to manage this thing, I'm not going to be able to get out of bed. I'm going to cry all the time because my entire life shifted from the stroke. People who know me now, all they're going to know is this person. But God, I have a family full of angels because they had to adapt to
Mhm.
a whole different. They had to learn me, and still even now they have to learn me.
Yeah.
And if that is not the kicker, I'm just like, God, I thank you
Ugh.
that I find humor in everything, because after, oh, you said you were diagnosed in 2019. Well, after I finished all of my treatments in January of 2019, I had a second stroke because of the chemo.
Oh my God.
So I was in a rehab hospital for almost 2 weeks. And so I guess when you were asking, there was in every situation, I was shocked until, that's why I said it was so therapeutic, Olivia. And I was so glad that you asked me, because the analogy that I use for getting through cancer is that it's like, for me, I feel like it's like what military people do when they go to war. They're trained for war, they go, and if they find themselves on the front line and they get shot or they get hit, they don't stop and say, wait, hold on, did I get, they don't start addressing and assessing
Mm-hmm.
the wounds. They do what they have to do to keep going and stay alive. And then when the heat of the battle is over, then they go and they tend to the wounds. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, I say now that I was going to laugh and outrun cancer. The two things
Mm-hmm.
cancer was not going to take from me was my smile, my laughter, my joy, my love of life, and just, I refused. I said, well, just because there's no cure for it, it doesn't mean that it's a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell other warriors now all the time, when you hear those words, it's scary and it's overwhelming, but do not accept it as a death sentence while you're still alive. You fight and you keep living and you keep laughing and you do everything that it is that you can do. And for me, it was either that or I knew. Almost, I cried when I found out I was diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia, I didn't cry again until I had the second stroke, because I was afraid if I started crying, I would never stop.
Yeah.
So instead, I replaced all of those tears then with laughter. I took each day at a time, and a mantra that we have around my house now is one breath, one step, one moment, one day at a time.
Wow.
That's it.
Wonderful.
And it keeps me present in the moment that I'm in, because if not, Teresa, when I'd be jumping, I don't know what I'd do when the phone rings. It's like, hey, I need you to come get scanned again, or hey, something didn't look right. You would be living in fear shadow your whole life. So it's become my lifestyle now. I look for laughter. I look for reasons to smile. And I have discovered whatever you're looking for, you'll find it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find it. There's always something to laugh at. There's always a reason to smile. And, like I told Teresa, I told Olivia before we got on here, I tell everybody all the time, most things for me can be cured with a hug and a nap.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much.
So,
Oh my gosh, Lisa. Oh my gosh. Like,
yeah.
you are just amazing. I mean, I'm trying not to cry. This is like, I'm just like, oh my gosh. I mean, But you're describing exactly why this exists. Is that because I want us to celebrate each day of being alive as opposed to avoiding death. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's
I love that statement, Olivia. I love that. Celebrating. I love that. I'm going to hold on to that. I write down little things to remind myself, because Teresa knows, like, we have to take it day by day. We don't, from day to day. And some days I'm not as joyful about it, and I'm not as, all smiles. And you add brain injury times 2 in the same area of my brain on top of breast cancer. Some days I'm just up and I'm just like, what is this? So it's not always that way, but I love the way you said it, Olivia, that to focus on celebrating life. And that's it. Celebrate we're alive, and not focusing on what could and all of that kind of stuff, one day at a time.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Teresa, what about you?
I don't know what to say after that.
I mean, I hope you're smiling too, Teresa. Like, come on.
No, I am. I truly am. And it's like, oh my gosh, for me, oh my gosh, Lisa, you are a true warrior fighter. I mean, all around.
Yes.
For me, when I got that phone call, I retreated. 3 days I spent in my bedroom just crying, because even on that, with that mammogram, they're like, oh, 95% is benign. You have test brands, it's nothing. And I rolled with that. I'm like, okay, so we go in for an ultrasound, and they're like, kind of the same thing. Oh, there's still something there, but we don't think it's anything. But just to make sure, let's go get a biopsy. So still me, I'm like, it's nothing there. There's nothing there. We get to the biopsy the day after. I get the phone call. They're like, it's cancer. It's like, wait a minute. For the last month, you've been telling me it's nothing. And all of a sudden you're telling me it's cancer. And it was what they called grade 3, which I equated with stage 3. And so you can't think straight when you get that news, and your doctor's giving you so much information, and now you're thinking it's cancer, and you're equating it to death, and so for me, I was at home by myself when I got that phone call, and I froze. Everything happened so quickly. I called my husband, I'm crying to him, and I'm like, it's cancer. And he's like, I'm leaving work, I'm going over with you. We have a 6-year-old that was in school. And so my mind went, what about Max? What about Max? Like, no. So I got so depressed for 3 days. My husband finally came into our bedroom on us. I got the news on a Thursday. On Sunday, he comes to our bedroom and he's like, you need to get up. You need to get up, because that little boy is watching you. And he's wondering what's going on and if he did something, because all he hears is his mom crying. So for me, it took, just to process the news, it took me a couple of days and weeks per se. But what was so amazing is everybody that rallied around. I was never the type of person that asked for help. Never was. And even when I got my diagnosis, I'm getting text messages, I'm getting phone calls from everybody. My in-laws said, we will move in with you so we can help you, and I love my my in-laws to death. My 2 nieces, the day of my diagnosis, they showed up at our house at 11:30 at night with pizza. They're like, screw this, we're going to do this. And I was still like, no. It wasn't until my son came into our bedroom and asked me if I was going to die. And that kind of kicked the, oh, hell no, this, I am not. And I did a lot of reading on mind and body. And everything that came out of it was find happiness, find laughter, because if your mind is in the right place, if you're happy, if you feel love, if you're laughing, that's half the battle. And so I would start off every morning. That's how I came across a you, Olivia, you know, finding hashtags on Facebook and Instagram, because for me, I needed to see that there were other women going through this that were okay, you know, and like what you say, Lisa, yes, the news hits you, you know, like a ton of bricks, but there comes a point where it's like, no, this is not the end. And I can truthfully tell you both that I don't regret the diagnosis. I don't regret it. I don't regret it. You know, I still, and I say it because it made me realize that this was a way for me to do things differently in my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we laugh over the dumbest things, you know. The whole gummy bear moves. I mean, that's something that like people in like other states are like, Teresa, and I'm like, yep, I'm not ashamed, you know. Why am I going to be ashamed?
That's right.
You know, and like in the summer when we had 95-degree weather, you're trying to get these like tank tops with very minimal bra because it's so hot. And I'm looking at the mirror and I would look at my husband and I'm like, we need to name these, you know? And then he's like, what do you want to call them? Like Biggie Smalls? Because like literally. And so we would joke around. And so for a couple of days, you know, he would come out and he'd be like, so how are Biggie and Smalls doing? And I'm like, they're perfectly fine. And
that's the best name. That's the best name I've heard.
I love it.
Yeah, you know, and and I told him, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to get that, you know, that revision now. I go, because like my boobs are celebrities on their own, you know. but you know, I mean, yeah, just laughing and knowing that it's, you know, it's a hard time, and we're going to be going through hell for who knows how long, however our treatment is going to be. And it sucks because, and I don't know if you feel that way, Lisa, like every little ache and pain that you feel, it's like you can't help your mind to be like, oh my gosh, you know, is it back? Has it spread? And I've learned to say, you know what, screw it. I can't control that. I need to live my life as if I am perfectly healthy, because I feel healthy now. You know, I joke around with people, and when they tell me, I work for the city of Chicago as a children's librarian, so I'm around children all day long, and I worked throughout chemo, because for me, it's like, if I'm at home, it's not going to be chemo that's going to kill me. You know, it's not going to be the cancer. It's going to be my mind. So I would take a couple of days off during treatment, and then would work. And I would have parents of my kids who would see me, you know, who saw me a few months ago, and they'd be like, oh, you got a haircut. That looks pretty cool. And I'm like, yep, it's not by choice, but thank you. Thank you for
I think it looks
you know?
good. Yeah, it's beautiful.
but I would laugh. I'd be like, yeah, it wasn't by choice, but here I am. And they would just stare at me like, okay, what do I say after that? And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. You know, I'm like, I can talk about this, and I'm okay with this now. So yeah, for me, it was important just being around positive people and people that were going to make me laugh, you know, and I would have friends who would call me and be like, can I go visit you? I go, you can come and visit me. I go, but you better not. I don't know if I can swear in here, Olivia, but
you can swear. Yeah, it's fine. Swearing's allowed.
I used to tell them, don't come with this shit face looking at me like I'm going to die, because I'm not planning to fucking die.
Yes.
You come in here. You come in here and you make me laugh. You tell me you love me, and that's it. That's all I need from you.
That's it.
And that's what I'm getting from I call them my circle of friends, you know. And so they send me you know, funny messages. They're always, and it's like, thank you, because that's exactly what I need. I don't need this doom and gloom, because when I see your face, now you're going to make me believe that I am actually dying, and I'm not planning to die. You know,
Mhm.
I'm here for a very long time. And I tell my son, I go, oh, baby, you have a mom that's going to be annoying you for a very, very long time. And I even joke around with my husband. I'm like, you think you're going to get rid of me that easy? I go, it ain't going to be that easy.
That's right.
That is a
So,
wonderful. Oh gosh.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
The running joke in my circle became, well, like when I first got my diagnosis, I decided I was going to find something. Since I said, well, okay, I'm not going to die. That's it. I'm not dying. So
Mhm.
I have to find some, like Teresa, I was like, I have to find something to look forward to. Well, I went online and Bruno Mars's 24 Karat Magic CD had just come out November before my diagnosis.
Mhm.
And I looked up, and lo and behold, he was coming here to Washington, D.C.
Nice.
So my older sister was kind enough. She's like, who? Kind enough. We went online, got the best seats we could find. The concert was September 30th. And every day, like on my lowest days, and everybody would laugh. So I cannot tell you how many people would send me memes and funny stuff with Bruno Mars, because from that moment when I got the tickets, I said, well, I can't die because I have a date with Bruno Mars on September 30th. So I have to be well enough to dance a hole in the floor on September 30th. And I couldn't believe how much that encouraged me.
Yeah.
And all over, everybody would, all things Bruno Mars, they would send me jokes and smiles, and I made it to my date, and it just, timing wise, it ended up being the Saturday before I was going to start radiation that Monday. And I danced and I sang every song, and I just, still now, all things Bruno Mars make me smile. He doesn't know it yet, but he doesn't know how he helped me get through. I've made a Bruno Mars playlist. I listen to that in chemo. When I start feeling bad, I'm like, nope. I have to get myself together. I have to look. I am not going to look like death when I go to my date when I have my date with Bruno Mars. When I would go for chemo, that's another thing that I tell people all the time. Just like what you said, Teresa, it would take me literally 3 hours to put makeup on, to get ready to go, because I just kept saying, I am not going to look in the mirror and not recognize the person that I see.
Yes.
So I perfected eyebrows when I was doing something, and part of my eyebrow came off, and right before I could just go hysterical, because you're prepared to lose your hair. You don't think about hair places. Nope, I pulled it in. I got the eyebrows straight, and so it's very methodical. And now when I find myself talking to other women, I'm always just like, whatever works for you. And you do have to train the people around you to be what you need them to be for you. And also for myself, I had to be mindful that, as you know, Teresa, especially with my children are grown, and you have a little one, I had to factor in that we're doing cancer together. Cancer is not something you can do individually. The cancer was in our bodies, but it spreads all through your circle, anybody that loves you. So I would do my best to try to be aware of how they felt, but always just say, hey guys, nope, I can't. If you're sad today, and if it's hard for you to see me going through, I need you to cry when you get home, or I need you to cry in the bathroom, but I can't see you crying, because if I see you crying, I'm not going to be able to go back to chemo the next time. So, yeah.
Well, ladies, oh my gosh. I mean, you guys are amazing in so many ways. And I really believe that when people hear not only your stories, but also this conversation, I just really feel like you're going to inspire others. And I think that you're going to show them that, as you said, it's not a death sentence. Like and you're showing them that, like, this is how you rally, and this is how you stand up for life, and you do your thing. And so, Thank you. Thank you both so much. Yeah. And I mean, and I also think that I think people who will see this, even if they aren't having, like, if they don't have cancer, I think that, there's a lot of people going through some tough stuff right now. And I think just hearing what you guys have to say, I think it's applicable to like any situation when you're feeling down, like how you pick yourself back up and how you keep going. And I think that is what you're describing. And
it's something you said, Olivia, especially with the COVID thing. And it's been so traumatic for so many people.
Yeah.
And it's something I was saying to my daughter. I was like, wow, so much of what we have to do now, I was already, accustomed to doing anyway.
Yeah.
You know that. So we can't be everywhere and be around people when you're doing chemo because you'll get sick. And, me coupled with the stroke, I was already doing so many things virtually, things like that. So my life had already significantly changed. But what I realized, and I was so grateful for having had cancer and then coming upon the pandemic, because then I could tell other people, and it allowed me to realize that as real as our cancer is for us, Teresa, other people, what they're experiencing, especially right now, feels like what our cancer to us.
Yes, I agree.
I've gotten to a place where I say all the time, hey, when you hear somebody in a short span of time, when I say I had, 2 strokes and breast cancer in a 7-year window in my 40s, but still I have not cornered the market on pain and suffering, and I guess I feel like cancer has allowed me then to be that much more compassionate for whatever your quote unquote cancer may be, whatever you feel like is eating you alive from the inside out and is killing you. I get it. It does not have to be cancer. It doesn't even have to be a physical sickness. It can be emotional. It can be mental. So I'm really, really grateful for that, for the new perspective that I have about adversity and what people are going through and how they feel. And it just has served me really, really well during the COVID crisis.
Yeah. For me, honestly, COVID was a blessing in disguise. Really was, because it allowed me, give it that once once I got the diagnosis, of course, it was an life altering news and changes that you needed to do immediately, because everything happens so quick. But for me, we were shut down from work for 2 months, so it allowed me to heal without seeking, FMLA or time off from work. It allowed for my husband, my son, and myself to be in our homes together and being in our new normal, where it's like, okay, mom has gone through the worst, her surgeries, chemo. Now it's time for us to reconnect together as a family. And I joke around with people. I'm like, we didn't kill each other, for 2 months. We did not kill each other. Doing homeschooling for my son because he was doing e-learning, being with my husband 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, And so for us, it was like, if you can stick. I remember one of the things, I did therapy, and the counselor told me something that kind of still stays with me. She said that 50% of relationships end with a cancer diagnosis.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, sometimes it's by the person going through, through the cancer, and sometimes it's the partner who just can't handle it because people change. So, I look at my husband, and it's like, if we made it through cancer and COVID, we can make it through anything, And it made me realize that life is short, very, very, very short. And that things that I complained about before are so insignificant and stupid now when you look at the big picture. So I'm more grateful. I wake up just thanking, thanking God, thanking the universe that I have another day where I can open my eyes, where I am healing, and I feel healthier than I've ever been in my entire life. I look at my son and I look at my husband and my friends, my family, and it's like, we're still here. And it's a great feeling, because you look at life completely different now, where you want every single day to count for something. You want to leave that imprint to say, I did this, I battled it, and it was hard as hell. You don't wish this up on anyone, but you realize how strong you are, stronger than you think you'll ever be.
Yeah.
And now that I'm getting close to my 1 year, I kind of start feeling that anxiety where I got diagnosed September 26th, and a week later, it's all pink stuff, breast cancer stuff, and it's like front and center. You can't turn away from it. And we're getting there, and I feel that anxiety, but it's like, no, Teresa, so far you've made it this far, and be grateful and laugh at all the stupid stuff that's out there. Laugh at your own self, along with chemo. I don't know if it's happened to either one of you. I don't know, Olivia, if you had chemo, but one of the things I remember that they told me, your body's going to do things that you never thought it was going to do. I still have some of the side effects of chemo, and that's a runny nose. My nose runs for no reason whatsoever. And sometimes I'm having lunch and here it comes. And like, literally, it sounds so gross, but now I'm just like, yep, here it is again, And it's like, and people look at me like, this is not right. And I'm like, this is nothing. Hot flashes, I'm actually going through one right now.
Oh,
you guys can see
still getting them years later.
Yeah.
Years later. I had it last night. It was the worst. The worst. Oh.
But I laugh at it. I laugh at it because now I think about it. I'm like, my body's working. I'm feeling stuff. I'm feeling stuff. So I laugh at that, and I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. I'll take them. I'll take the runny noses, the hot flashes, the aches and pains, as long as I can be around. So yeah,
that's beautiful.
That's my motto now.
Well, thank you both so much for participating in this. And like I said earlier, I think a lot of people get a lot of great stuff from this, and I think you'll help a lot of people just by hearing your stories. So thank you both so much. And I, keep following us, and I hope that you guys will always be in my life. And I'm so glad to know you both. So
thank you, Olivia. Thank you so much.
I can't thank you enough for what you do, and I'm just really, really appreciative of all of us, whatever it is that we're fit in the circle to be able to pay it forward or help someone coming behind us. So I'm always appreciative when I connect us with somebody who, did this, went this far, and set up platform, set up community, set up space that just helps us keep getting through. So I really appreciate you, Olivia.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Anything we can do, Olivia, please reach out.
I will definitely do that. Thank you both so much. Well, have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Lisa. It was a pleasure. Bye.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.